as promised. By the time you see this, American Shambles has already posted. And this is Trump won, downfall of Democrats, ? So, yeah, we're into this. Shoe0nHead. Let's see what you are talking about in this one. This is one of the two that feed into the one that I started that I will splice myself back into as soon as I'm done with this, which is the Blame the Voters, where she responds to responses, I guess. So, anyway, catching up. And I'll be posting these one a day until they're all out. So that being said, let's go. I'm going to change the color. Hold on. Real quick. I just needed to change it up a little. That's really blue. Let's do like a... Oh, I didn't even notice the difference, did you? No? That's so bright. That's bright. Ew. I don't know. I'll leave it at that. All right. You guys ready? Let's go.
Election night in America, one of the most consequential elections in recent history.
Donald Trump has won the presidential election in Kentucky.
Florida, Alabama, Tennessee,
and
Oklahoma. Missouri will go to Donald Trump.
It's clear now that Donald Trump has picked up key support among Hispanic voters, despite all the things that he said.
Donald Trump will win the state of North Carolina.
That the state of Georgia will go to former President Donald Trump.
The evening was getting increasingly somber as people realized what this map is looking like.
CNN projects.
As we all know what happened, obviously this happened a while back. I will just put my little context out there just so that you kind of see where I'm coming from, and then you understand where my perspective is a little bit. The Democratic Party ran on an anti-everybody. They picked a couple, and I'm not marginalizing the minority groups that they decided that they were going to run their entire campaign based on. I'm saying that anyone that didn't fit into these couple little boxes that they decided to run on, they shit on those people. And they're like, you don't fit in these boxes, therefore you don't matter. Nothing about you matters. We don't care about you. You either fall in line, or we're going to scream and cry and throw tantrums and call you names and attack you. And that's how that campaign was run, whether it was her strategy or if it was just how people were behaving. That's what someone like me was seeing, that if I didn't agree, you know what, I don't really agree with that policy. How dare you ever say that? You can't say that. People will, come for you. Okay. That's not a good strategy, is to alienate anyone that isn't 100% on board with you choosing that these particular groups are above everyone else and no one else matters, or we shouldn't care about anyone else. And if they don't agree with me, they're pieces of crap, and let's treat them that way. Anyway, so that being said, I did watch when this all was going down. People were not happy. In fact, I think that it was very bad form that Kamala left. And she stomped. I'm going to say it. This is my opinion. She stomped off in a huff. And I wasn't surprised. That's not a way for a presidential candidate to act, but, you get what you get.
The evening was getting increasingly somber as people realized what this map is looking like.
CNN projects that Donald Trump will win the great Commonwealth of Pennsylvania.
Kamala Harris is not winning.
So you won't hear from the vice president tonight?
News Decision Desk can now officially project that Donald Trump will become the 47th president of the United States.
Do you really think that the Democratic Party is fighting for you? The overwhelming answer is no.
I usually don't agree with him, but I agree there.
Well, well, well. What have we learned? Nothing, apparently. I regret to inform you, everything I predicted about the election in my last video came true, and more. Men did overwhelmingly turn out for Trump, especially young men. But I was wrong about one thing. Young men weren't the only ones who came out in droves for Trump. Nearly everyone did. The madman took everything, every swing state, Pennsylvania, Georgia, my home state, New York, was closer to flipping red than Florida was to flipping blue. Turns out Dick Cheney is brat wasn't the best message to win over voters. Dems did so bad it really
Dick Cheney is brat. It's like when you're, I picture my kids feeling this some type of way about me. Like when your mom tries to be cool and hip and like use phrases and be like, for real, like Ohio, oh my God, like he's such a Sigma. And you're like, Mom, it's kind of like what Kamala was doing. It's Brett Summer. Like, what? You're supposed to be professional. You're supposed to be trusted with running a country. And you want to use these little catchphrases like an uncool parent? Like, I don't know. It was just, I thought it was just really badly done. But I think the candidate was a terrible candidate and it wasn't even voted in by their own party. So.
Dick Cheney is brat wasn't the best message to win over voters. Dems did so bad it really had me thinking, damn, did we steal that election? So what happened here? How did it go so wrong? Is it too late for the Democratic Party, or can they turn this around? Will the Democrats learn from this, or will they double down and get worse? In this video, I'm going to go through all the excuses and the copes the Democrats and the broader left are coming up with to avoid accountability. Read some silly tweets, watch some silly news clips, and even give the Democratic Party some advice on how to win 2028. Don't worry, Republicans watching this. They won't listen. Maybe in 2050, under the barren Trump monarchy, someone might come to their senses, but not anytime soon. If you only watched or read most mainstream liberal news, it really seemed like Kamala had this in the bag, which is why you should try to get your news from a variety of different sources. Oh,
Brown news?
That reminds me. Before we dive into this election dissection, let's give a quick shout out to today's sponsor, a sponsor I've been working with for over 4 years now, Ground News. Ground News is a website and an app that gives readers an easy and transparent way to read the news all across the political spectrum. Every story comes with a quick visual breakdown that helps you understand the full story and makes sure you're getting both sides. One of my favorite features of Ground News is the blind spot feature, which shows you what news stories have been covered by one side of the political spectrum and ignored by the other. For example, here is a story about how Bernie Sanders is open to working with Trump on capping credit card interests, and there's 23 sources on it, and 89% are right-wing. No left-wing sources have covered the story. And this story about how 2 women have told the ethics panel that Matt Gaetz paid them for sex, 31 sources, 61% of them left-wing. You can even see who owns these political outlets. Ground News also makes it really easy and fun to compare headlines to see how ownership or political bias can affect the framing of a story. For example, this story about how a man was arrested after allegedly a stabbing spree in Manhattan that left 2 dead and 1 injured. This left-wing outlet says, man arrested after alleged stabbing spree in Manhattan that left 2 dead, 1 injured. This right-wing outlet says, 2 dead, 1 critically injured in Manhattan as knife-wielding maniac launches unprovoked stabbing spree. I have been using Ground News since 2021 and I am just obsessed with this app. It is a great and easy way to stay informed, plus it really helps me see how both sides frame the same story so differently. Best of all, for Black Friday, I am offering 50% off their Vantage plan, which is the plan I use to access all their amazing features. This is their biggest discount of the year, so go to ground.news/shoe, use the QR code here on the screen, or use the link in the video description down below and subscribe today for only $4.16 repeating per month. I personally think what they're doing is very important because it helps approach the news in a more balanced and transparent way, and I feel like we really need that nowadays. So thank you, Ground News, for sponsoring this video, and thank you, the viewer, for not skipping the ad. Right? And now let's get back to this election dissection, shall we?
No point in saying good morning.
Oh God. Okay. So I'm just gonna say this. Everyone has a bias. Everyone's biased, whether you're on one side or the other, whether you're strictly down the middle and you don't give a crap about either side. You just have ideas of how you hope things suss out, and whichever kind of aligns with your beliefs more, that's who you go for. I mean, everything is valid. Your opinions are your own. My opinions are my own. Her opinions are her own. That being said, the cool thing I would think about Ground News is that even if you don't agree with the way they framed it, seeing how they're framing it kind of makes you go, really? Really? On both sides. Because when you saw the one about the maniac, it was kind of like, okay, that was a bit much. But is it? If somebody is going around stabbing people, they're kind of a maniac, right? to downplay it is a bit weird, right? Because somebody is going around stabbing people. So you would hope that they would like put some sense of urgency into it. But it's really interesting to see them side by side and be able to see how people frame it. Now, I try really hard. I'm not good at it. I will tell you what my opinion is. I will tell you the context of like where my take is so that you understand that the comments that I am making and kind of you're expecting a little bit of the outcome. But I do everything in my power to kind of absorb other opinions, especially like when Shoe0nHead is talking. I try to hear her out. I don't always agree with her. I don't always agree with anybody that's being quoted or whatever. Sometimes I have a different perspective of what happened in the moment that it happened. Okay, so I will voice some of them, not all of them, but just know that I do my best. I am human. You are human, even though you pretend like you're not. And you all know everything better than anyone else. Not you, but like you, as in the collective, right? So let's get our big boys and big girl, grown-ass people pants on. And let's get into this. So this would have been right after Donald Trump won the election in 2024. Correct? Correct? Hey, Google. These videos have a weird date system on them. It says 1 year ago, but the one that was prior to the election was a year ago. And this one's a year ago, and it's 2026. So to me, it's like, wait. Anyway, who cares? We know he already won at this point. Let's go.
Oh, let's get back to this election dissection.
That was a lot of words. I apologize.
There's no point in saying good morning, because it certainly is not one.
God, I can't
From
stand
blaming
her.
the American people to blaming Joe Rogan, the Democrats and the media are having a hard time coping with their loss, and I don't blame them. It was a pretty big loss. Embarrassing, quite frankly. Donald Trump overperformed in nearly every state, with basically every demographic, and the entire country seems to be shifting more red. Everyone was so sure dangerous, devious, dastardly Donald would never make his way back into the White House to steal democracy. And he did it. With democracy. Anyway.
And here's the thing. I'm going to say it one more time. I'm going to double down on this. When you alienate every single person, I'm not saying every person. I'm saying the majority. When you alienate the majority, you're making a mistake. Not saying that the minority votes don't matter. And I'm not talking about the minority as in speaking about people and their category, box category. I'm not talking about that. I'm saying majority minority, like a large number of people versus a small number of people. That's all I'm saying. I'm not saying like specific groups. I'm just saying a big chunk of people and a smaller chunk of people. If you only cater to the smaller chunk of people and you tell the bigger chunk of people that you don't matter because you're not in this smaller chunk of people, all these people are like, well, fuck you then. And this was the biggest fuck you then that you could ever find. This is exactly what happened. So all those people that were on the fence that really didn't like Donald Trump, that didn't want to vote for Donald Trump, were like, well, fuck you then, and voted for Donald Trump, because better Donald Trump than that bitch. I'm not saying that people didn't vote for him because they believed in him, or people didn't vote for her because they believed in her. All I'm saying is that those people that were sitting on that fence were like, well, she alienated them completely. And then doubled down on shit talking people. It was the worst RANT campaign. I mean, they're going to talk about it for decades.
The White House to steal democracy. And he did it. With democracy. Anyway, I got a lot of comments on my last video like, wait, you're left-wing and you hate the Democrats? Yeah, man, that's a pretty common thing. If you're shocked that I'm left-wing, maybe that's a sign you need to take a step back and evaluate some of the preconceived stereotypes you have of people. Not all of us are crazy blue-haired socialists, no. Some of us are crazy brown-haired socialists. But for those of you who are new here, hello, I am Shoe0nHead. If you ask the right wing, I am Stalin. If you ask the left wing, I am Hitler. Fiscally far left, culturally centrist, socially retarded. But if you really must put me in a box, it's not that hard to pin me down. I'm a populist. Think Huey Long if he was a 5'3" Italian New Yorker woman who still did her hair and makeup like it was 2008. Put a pin in that Huey Long name, by the way. He's gonna come up later. I grew up in the 90s and the 2000s. My political awakening was jibjab.com. The first time I voted for Obama. I was ready for that hope and change. Instead, we got the crushing of Occupy Wall Street and more drone strikes. And from there, it only got worse. I voted for Bernie in the primaries in 2016, and I watched as the Democratic Party did everything in their power to destroy this man twice. So it is safe to say I am a little biased when it comes to the Democratic Party, but I don't think I've hated them more than I do right now. The truth is, my last video was way meaner and way harsher than the final product turned out to be. When I showed the video to my assistant, he basically had an intervention with me and he was like, listen, you need to soften this up a bit. It's a few days before the election. You went too hard. Well, the election is over. And I'm sorry, River, but I'm going hard.
Yeah, I get it.
You idiots. You morons.
Facts.
You imbeciles. Kamala Harris? Really? That's who you threw up there? The one who dropped out before Iowa? The one who got blown the out by Tulsi Gabbard? Why didn't you hold a primary? Aren't you the saviors of democracy? Where the was the democracy? Oh, big congratulations to Tim Walz on being the first white male DEI hire. It didn't work. The DNC completely neutered that guy, reduced him.
By the way, Tim Walz, as any candidate, did not age well, did it? It's not aged well. His little skeletons are come dancing out of the closets. He's corrupt as shit. Oh wait, he's a politician.
Hire. It didn't work. The DNC completely neutered that guy, reduced him to this weird token white man. Hello, fellow men, I too play football. But hey, men weren't the only demographic you completely dropped the ball with. Trump made incredible gains with women, too. Oh, and all those never Trumpers you tried to court, the people who like the old respectable GOP. You know, the old respectable GOP that led us into a pointless war that cost us trillions of dollars and millions of lives. But we're at least nice on Twitter. That GOP. Yeah, they didn't come out and vote for your ass either. So you got Liz Cheney to tag along for what? For f***ing what? You raised $1 billion and ended up 20 million in debt? Where the hell?
Okay, so I had the numbers wrong in the last video. I said $30 million because I was trying to remember off the top of my head. So raised a bill. I knew it was an insane. It was, to me, guys, to me, $30 million is insane money, right? You give me $30 million, I can do anything. I can do anything. Are you kidding me? And my kids can do anything, and their kids can do anything. Like, that's insane. You could live off of their interest, period. Comfortably. Take a vacation 3 times a year. Comfortably. Like, the fuck? $1 billion? Are you in? Okay, so I had my numbers wrong. I'm just clarifying.
For f***ing what? You raised $1 billion and ended up 20 million in debt? Where the hell did all that money go? Maybe you should have blown it all on celebrity appearances that did nothing. Or maybe it was spending 6 figures on a single-use set for the Call Her Daddy podcast that didn't even hit 1 million views. I want to see a full audit of this campaign, because I wouldn't be surprised if this was all like a big money laundering scheme, because honestly, that makes more sense than this being a legitimate presidential campaign. Then, they had the audacity to beg their supporters for money after she lost. How about you? How about every DNC consultant should have this map sewn onto the inside of their eyelids? May they never have a peaceful wink of sleep for the rest of their miserable lives. So that is how I feel about the whole situation. But
Valid. Fucking valid. I don't know if I remember if I was aware that they begged for money after the fact. Like, the fuck? Who was like, hey, guys, thanks for spending your last dollar because you would do anything to keep Trump out of office. And we thought Kamala was gonna pull this one pull this one off. You know, we thought she was gonna pull through for us. She didn't. And I know that you spent way more than you really could afford, considering that you are not getting any of the perks that you've been promised over and over again by the Democratic Party. You know, free money. You didn't get that. So take more of your earned money, surprise, surprise, and send it to us because we fucked up. Now we're in debt and we need to pay it off. Ignore the fact that it was $1 billion and we have 20 extra million. So $1 billion, 20 million. Who was like, yeah, let's do a GoFundMe? The fuck? The audacity. This is great. She's raging.
What do Democrats and the media think? What do they think the Harris campaign did wrong?
Oh,
Why
no.
do they think Kamala lost?
I think Harris ran a really good campaign. If there's one person I do not blame for this loss, it is Vice President Harris.
This is gonna be a long fucking video.
What?
The media this morning saying Dems need to have a reckoning. No, we don't. We can't be blamed because we expected Americans to be who they always claim they are. Democrats don't have a messaging problem. America has a racism problem.
that?
Kamala ran a flawless campaign in 100 days, and I refuse to let y'all gaslight me into believing anything other than that. She lost because she's a woman, and a black one at that.
I mean, this really
She's lost because she's incompetent. She can't string sentences together that make any sense. She doesn't understand policy. She's done absolutely nothing in her entire reign in the White House. She's done nothing. Nothing. You couldn't even get her to tell you what her accomplishments are, except for trying to cackle at people and saying, I am a black woman, therefore I should win. It's literally was her campaign. How many times I got to tell y'all? I say this constantly. I always say this. You do not get kudos for something that had nothing to do with you. Your parents boinked. You turned out the color you are. Your parents boinked. You have the hair color and the eye color that you are. You have. That is not an accomplishment. Unless you had surgery and you changed it. Like certain people that have done that in the past. It happens. I understand that. Like, it still is not an accomplishment. It's a choice. Accomplishing something is doing something positive for the world and saying, look, I'm that person that started this funding for the, not that my accomplishment is I slept with all of these political and celebrity figures that and got me through, in every position I've ever been. That was a double, get it? I'm gonna have to put a disclaimer on this one too.
Into believing anything other than that. She lost because she's a woman, and a black one at that.
I mean, this really was an historic, flawlessly run campaign.
Listen, I'm no political analyst, but losing seems like a pretty big flaw. Truly, don't overthink it. It's because she's a woman, she's a black woman.
Hands down, hand to God, I don't care. I don't care. I don't care. I don't care. I don't care about this, and I don't care about that. Neither one. I don't care. There's not one time that she opened her mouth and I was like, oh, you know what? Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah. Like inspiring and made me feel like, yes, let's do this. Yes, USA, let's go. Not one time. Not one time. And I don't think I got through any one of her spiels without cringing. I mean, sincerely, it has nothing to do with this. It has nothing to do with this. I don't care. And most of us don't care. And we're tired of people saying we care. We don't. Just saying.
Don't overthink it. In fact, don't think about it at all.
And Kamala Harris lived up to our dreams. Don't let anyone tell you otherwise.
What?
She ran a remarkable 107-day emergency campaign full of joy and hope.
Kamala Harris was the perfect candidate, and she ran a beautiful campaign of joy, empathy, and unity. Joy and empathy and unity doesn't motivate people to go to the polls. No wonder Republicans had...
And it doesn't make anybody trust you to run a fucking country. Who runs a country on joy and hope and empathy? That's for the head of, like, the joy and hope and empathy panel. That, like, sends rainbows to people and hearts. Like, what the fuck? No, that's not, that's, people need to stop. They need to start taking these positions of power seriously. They need to understand that you have to actually be able to do something. She's not a good businesswoman at all. At least Trump brought that. He was a businessman, and he was a badass businessman, and everybody liked him until the moment he went up against, the party. I'm just saying. He at least had those accomplishments. Look at all he has accomplished in his personal life. I'm talking about, I'm sorry, I lied. Let me walk that back. His business life, his personal life. Don't touch kids. Cool. I don't care. I don't care. I don't care that you like young women. Like, I'm talking adult women. I don't care. I don't care. You think she's hot. Who cares? I think she's hot too, whoever she is. I think he's hot, whoever he is. Who cares? You're running a fucking country. Like, it's not a popularity. Oh, it's not supposed to be a popularity contest. But that's what they all boil it down to. Who makes me feel in my feefies? Ah! That's why I don't do political stuff.
Joy and empathy and unity doesn't motivate people to go to the polls. No wonder Republicans had incredible turnout and so many Democrats stayed home. This isn't Steven's universe. You just can't, like, joy and empathy and unity your way out of not being able to afford food for your family. CNN has a story titled, Where the Harris Campaign Went Wrong. Nope. I won't read it. Harris ran a great campaign. The story should be titled, Where the American People Went Wrong. La la la, I can't hear you. La 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 la, I can't hear you. It's not me, it's you. La 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 la. The cope is unreal here. They don't even want to listen to criticism. They really think they did absolutely nothing wrong. They only see this as a Trump win and not a Democrat failure. Kamala Harris was not a flawed candidate. America is a flawed country. This incredible tweet here is from Shannon Watts, who is on the board of Emerge America, which is an organization that, quote, shows Democratic women how to run for office. Yeah, we're never getting a female president.
Joe Biden's been a phenomenal president. He's lived up to so many of the promises he's made. There's one promise left that he could fulfill, being a transitional figure. He could resign the presidency in the next 30 days, make Kamala Harris the president of the United States.
Whoa.
He would absolve her.
Wow. What the f is this Make-A-Wish president shit? Like she's a little kid who wants to play pretend. Oh, just let her for a few days. What? Please tell me we're not gonna get the first female president out of pity. Well done, America. You failed them both. The people cannot let politicians down. That's not how this works. As a politician, you are not owed anyone's vote. You have to earn it, and evidently she didn't earn it. We already went through this in 2016. Donald Trump beat both female candidates. Donald iron sealing Trump. It's not our fault the female candidates you're putting up are dog shit. Give us some good female candidates and maybe people will vote for them. At this rate, the first female president is going to be a Republican. Mark my words, it's bound to happen. And if it doesn't happen, this was a joke.
No, honestly, I think she's not wrong. I think that if you want to get a female in office, it will be a Republican. Being the Republican is how you're going to get the Republican vote, and being a woman is how you're going to get the Democratic vote. However, here's the fun little double standard on the Democratic side. Let's be real here. The double standard is, I don't care what it takes. We want a woman as the president. Oh, unless it's a woman that's a Republican, because they're women, they're insert crazy buzzwords that they spew at everyone. Right? Yes, we will do anything to get a woman in office because all that matters is what's between her legs, unless what's between her legs is not what's actually between her legs and she just identifies as one. Did you see, by the way, fun little offshoot tangent. Did you see the candidate for whatever the hell it was, the guy in the dress who says that he menstruates through his bum every month? The fuck is wrong with people? I guess they're replacing some Democratic candidate, somebody for some office, and he got canceled, whatever. And so they have this panel, and then what is this man it's a man in it's a man in a dress. And he's like, yes, I menstruate. I'm going to be completely honest and transparent. That's what I'm going to run on. I'm not going to lie to anyone. Bitch, you were in a dress. Like the fuck? I'm sorry. Tangent over. Let's continue. God, I don't know. This is why I don't do political.
Going to be a Republican. Mark my words, it's bound to happen. And if it doesn't happen, this was a joke. One of the groups that showed up overwhelmingly for Trump was Latinos. One of the major stories of the results is the significant surge in support for Trump among Latino voters. Trump nearly erased the Democratic advantage in this group, narrowing the gap from 33 points to just 8. Democrats.
Fun fact. Let's do this again. By the way, when I was talking about the guy in the dress, wear a dress all you want. But don't sit there and say that, like, I would never fool anyone. It's like, you're attempting to fool people, and you're not fooling anyone, but you're acting like you literally just said that you lied. You're a liar. It's that simple. So, like, he just basically canceled himself out. Like, he says, I won't lie, and then lies. Anyway, in my opinion, the Hispanic vote is because there's a lot of people here that are here legally. And I know people personally who have come here legally, become citizens, have been here like legally for decades. They don't want illegal immigration. They want everybody else to go through the same thing they went through and do it through legal means. They do not just because they're Hispanic does not mean that they want people here illegally. It's not the same. And that's one of the reasons they were not for Kamala. They worked their ass off, you know, just as much as all of us do. They assimilate. They came to America to get a better opportunity to be Americans. They respect the flag. They respect the process. They respect the laws. I know, shocking, right? Who knew that people do that? Except for crazy, super right-wing people, right?
The Democratic advantage in this group, narrowing the gap from 33 points to just 8. Democrats gonna build the wall 50 times higher after that one. We have to have a very, very uncomfortable conversation about Latino voters in this country. Me watching him deport the Latinos and the Arab Americans after they voted for him. And Cinco de Mayo.
To all you Latinos that voted for Trump, I hope he mass deports you and your entire family, whether you...
Wait. If you have the stance that deportation is wrong on a moral and like a visceral level, like it is absolutely wrong moralistically, you cannot do that to people. That is evil. That is wrong. What the fuck are you sitting on here saying? Oh, let's deport them because they did something I don't like. Come on, this double hypocrisy standard. I know I said that all types of wrong. It's just ridiculous. People need to stop and listen to themselves. If you support that no deportations, period, because it is ethically wrong, and then you turn around and say, well, since you didn't vote for who I wanted, I hope you and your family and everyone you've ever met gets deported. Bitch, shut up.
That voted for Trump,
Yeah,
I hope he mass deports you and your entire family, whether you were here legally or not. You gotta go.
I know for a fact that most Latinos for Trump have undocumented family members. So if you know of a Latino who voted for Trump, I urge you to call this number and report.
Again, same exact thing. If ethically you believe that calling ICE on people is wrong, and then you're like, but since you didn't vote the way I agreed with, if you know someone, go ahead and call ICE. And then he's gonna go stand outside protesting. How dare ICE? Stop it. Stop it, you morons.
Said family members.
That's why no one
Donald
believes
Trump's
you.
strongest soldiers
Or trusts you.
spiteful liberals.
A district that's 97% Latino went 75 percentage points for Donald Trump. Why?
Misogyny.
It's on the, no,
That's
it's on
why.
the border.
It's
the border
misogyny.
crisis is on their doorstep. And they were begging people to care about it for years. We
Misogyny
need to
and
take some
sexism.
less.
That's what that was.
Another demographic for people that overwhelmingly showed up to vote against Kamala were Muslims. In a Michigan-specific poll of 502 registered Muslim voters, Stein got 59% support, followed by Trump at 22%, and Harris with a tiny 14% of the vote. The results show significant backlash to the Biden administration's handling of Israel's brutal war in Gaza, which has killed at least 43,508 Palestinians, including more than 16,765 children, as well as how the Harris campaign chose to tackle the issue. So how exactly did they tackle that issue? Why, sending that old pervert freak Bill Clinton up to Michigan to talk down to Muslims about Palestine.
I understand why young Palestinian and Arab Americans in Michigan think too many people have died. I get that. But
Muslims really said, we hate you more than the guy that talked about a Muslim ban. Just a side note, look at this fucking guy. It's like he hasn't had his daily dose of adrenochrome in a week. Someone get this man a fresh...
It looks like a skeleton. I was gonna say that.
Look at this fucking guy. It's like he hasn't had his daily dose of adrenochrome in a week. Someone get this man a fresh child stat. Muslims, Latinos, who else are we gonna blame? Ah yes, women. Yes, Trump improved with young men, but he drew in young women too.
Wow, look at that. 52% of all women who look like me.
Wow. You stupid fucking idiots. Only I have the answers and you don't agree? Despicable, disgusting. Fucking stupid, crappy person. Look at her face. Her face tells me I don't want to see anything she has to say, but we're stuck doing it, so let's fucking get through it.
Look at that. 52% of all women who look like me are stupid.
Despite making abortion the #1 issue in her campaign, despite Brat Summer, despite the white women for Harris Zoom calls, and most of all, despite the Taylor Swift endorsement, Harris only managed to get +8 with women. Despite it all, many women came out to support Trump, especially Gen Z women. In 2020, 30% of young women voted for Trump. In 2024, 40% of young women voted for Trump. In fact, so many women voted for him that women on TikTok started wearing blue bracelets to signal to other women that they were one of the good ones who didn't vote for Trump.
Swifties, I'm buying as many.
Let's all do something so that we know who we can harass and bully and scream at and discriminate against. Kind of incognito. But let's put it all over TikTok because, you know, gotta have everybody know, look at me. It's fucking despicable. It's fucking despicable. They're literally coming up with ways that they can discriminate against others. They're looking for specific ways that they can identify people on site that they can discriminate against, and they can harass and they can bully and they can scream and yell and treat like shit. That's what they're doing. And they're saying, look at me. I'm such an advocate. I'm an ally. Like, how this is, nobody asked for you. Nobody needs you. Stop. Stop it. It pisses me off. I'm a white woman. I'm a middle-aged white woman. Okay. This pisses me off because this is what people think that people like me are. They think that they are hateful, nasty, screaming Karens who only want their way or else and hates everyone. Ironically, the group of people that hate people the most are these people. They're the most hateful. Oh my God. It pisses me off that anyone would treat another person like this. And then to go out of their way to make sure you can easily identify people that you can use as targets. It's disgusting. It's despicable. It's wrong. It's fucking wrong. Oh, yes, I definitely need a disclaimer on this one.
Blue beads and blue hearts as I can, and I'm gonna make bracelets so we know who we can trust.
Yeah. Anyway, some young women in response to Trump's victory are starting to get into the 4B movement. A movement started in South Korea.
Thank God. Because guess what? It's like nobody wanted to hire me for football, so I'm gonna have an anti-football bracelet, so you can know that I will no longer play football. Bitch, we didn't want you to play football. You can't play football. Nobody wants you on the team. Like, why are you doing this? Okay. Crazy. I mean, yeah.
Basically MGTOW for women. Women giving up on dating men, having sex with men, having babies, marriage, whatever.
We are taking coochie off the table indefinitely.
Cancel all future plans with men. 4B is where it's at. Use their own stupid traditional views against them. Say that you don't want sex before marriage. Say that you are waiting for the right man. They will be seething because they are sexually dependent on women who they call sluts. See, this is the best angle. No sex before marriage. Give them what they voted for. So conservatives won the election and women are threatening to not sleep around. It kind of seems like the conservatives won a little more than just the election. I might do a whole video on the 4B movement. Tell me if you're interested in that. I don't know. Anyway, young men did come out and support Trump, and apparently for the reasons I and many others predicted. We asked young men why they voted for Donald Trump. Here's what they said. Nick Sumners, a 21-year-old cosmetic car repairman from Virginia, says he is pro-choice, but when he voted in the 2024 presidential election, he did so for Donald Trump. Despite his personal beliefs, he says that Trump talks about the American people in a way that resonates with him, without, in his opinion, faulting him for his gender and sexual orientation. I'm a straight white man, and I feel like we take the blame for a lot of things. Of course there are bad guys, he adds, insisting that he's not one of them just because he voted for Trump, but what appealed to him about Donald Trump was that his campaign was not coming after us. He was highlighting the American people, which we are. It doesn't matter what color you are, what you may identify as. Since I wasn't excluded, I resonated with.
Did I not say that? That has always been my opinion as to why even people that were like, ill Donald Trump. Okay, whether I don't care who you voted for. I personally don't give a shit who you voted for. I don't care. I don't care. I mean, good. Give me your opinions. That's fine. I mean, it's when you approach somebody saying, this is how you have to be or else. You alienate people. And like he said it perfectly right here. He's pro-America. You know, he doesn't care who you are, what you've done, as long as you love America. Did you catch that, Backstreet Boy? Anyway, but he's not wrong, because he was being excluded based on the fact you are straight, you are white, you are a male, you don't matter. Get the fuck out of my face. We don't matter. Get away from us, you piece of crap. Name calling, buzzwords, campaigns against him as a straight white male. That's what you get for being an asshole to people. That's what happens when you tell an entire group of people they do not matter.
When you tell a young white guy, hey, you're an oppressor, and because you're white, you have privileges that your black and Hispanic peers didn't have, and you're inherently at fault, or you're guilty for that, which is what a lot of the left wings or Democrats are saying. We're not racist, we're not misogynistic, we're just normal people, and we are friends with everyone. We're tired of hearing a lot of this BS from a lot on the far left. I feel like there's this cultural frustration that young men have that they're not allowed to be young men. I hope the male loneliness epidemic eats you MAGA scum alive. I hope you feel a hole in your soul and feel unloved until your dying day. I hope you rot in your deathbed wondering why women looked at you like you had rabies your whole life as your eyes closed for the last time. Unfortunately, the all men suck branding just isn't good for getting men to ally with you.
Oh no, it can't be! Is that the consequences of my own actions?
Yes, the reasonable and rational men know you aren't talking about them, but maybe it's time to realize that most men aren't reasonable and rational. How do you speak to young men when they're literally Nazis? Why are Gen Z males the f***ing Hitler youth? How do we get young men to get on board with the young men eat shit and die movement? Hear me out. Maybe not calling them Hitler Youth? After the election, a YouTuber I am subscribed to uploaded a video called How the Right is Winning Young Men, and I was excited to see his take. But then it comes time to talk about men's issues, and this is how he did it.
But this is the part where I want to enter the male loneliness epidemic. I know, we're all tired of hearing.
The entire idea of the male loneliness epidemic is it's this idea that really centers men and men's feelings. The premise is of quite a flawed premise to begin with.
I agree. I also, I have such mixed feelings about this. I do. Unpopular though it is on the left to like give grace to the male loneliness epidemic. I have mixed feelings about it. I'm picking my words carefully so the leftists don't murder me. Like, don't rake me over the coals for this. But I think that I understand as much as I can understand a heterosexual man.
Yeah, I think we found the answer to the video title. Oh, I have to pick my words carefully so my own movement doesn't attack me for caring about men's issues. Yes.
Are we going to address what the chick said? Where she basically said that it is centered around men's feelings and therefore its premise in and of itself is basically invalid. It's useless. It's stupid. Because we don't fucking care. That's basically what, I mean, that was my summary. That is my interpretation. Allegedly, hypothetically. Fish. Not her. The chick in the podcast. And you see her face. She had that face of that chick that I was like, ew. Like that. Oh. She wouldn't be talking to this guy if he wasn't visibly behaving in a gay fashion. She wouldn't be talking to him. If he came off like, yo, what's up, man? She'd be like, ew. He's like, dude, I'm gay. I'm as gay as they come. I'm hot. I'm ripped. I have a deep voice. I'm 6 foot. She'd be like, oh my God, ew, you misogynistic Nazi bitch. Or man. And he'd be like, I'm gay. She'd be like, that face. Where's that face go? I'm not gonna rewind it that far.
My words carefully so the leftists don't murder me. Like, don't rake me over the coals for this. But
beautiful
I think
skin,
that
though.
I understand as much as I can understand a heterosexual man.
Yeah, I think we found the answer to the video title. Oh, I have to pick my words carefully so my own movement doesn't attack me for caring about men's issues. You see the issue? If you can't talk about this without having to walk on eggshells in fear of your own allies ripping your head off, maybe that is part of the reason men are moving right. Also, I feel like this is really important to say. I don't think all these men are moving right. I think just a lot of them hate the Democratic Party and feel alienated from the left. So what was the overwhelming takeaway from the Democrats and the left? To actually start listening to men? No, of course not. Instead, their solution once again seems to be, we need a liberal Joe Rogan. We need a liberal Joe Rogan, ASAP. We need a left-wing Rogan. Democrats are gonna keep losing until they have their own Joe Rogan, their own Elon Musk, until they create their own alternative to Fox News. People saying Harris should have done Joe Rogan are missing the point. That wouldn't have helped her. Liberals need to build their own Joe Rogan. Oh my god, we need a liberal Joe Rogan. You had a liberal Joe Rogan. His name was Joe Rogan. But he was too edgy, too problematic, said too many no-no words, talked to too many no-no people about no-no topics, and in 2020, when Bernie Sanders went on his podcast and Joe endorsed him, the Democrat journalist class freaked the f*** out and smeared him for weeks. The left can't have a Joe Rogan, because everything that makes Joe Rogan, is not allowed on the left. Kamala Harris dished
absolute, positive, hands down facts. I was waiting for her to take a breath so I could say, you cannot. They would not endorse him or someone that behaved like him as on a podcast because is he perfect? No, he's human. He is flawed in and of him being himself. He's a human. Logic, common sense. You can't use those if you're on specific sides. And if you're pushing a specific message that is illogical and is nonsensical, you can't have someone representing you that's logical and commonsensical, because the second they start talking about your campaign or what you're pushing forward, they're going to tear it apart. Like, wait a minute, what the fuck am I talking about? Unless they lie. Oh.
Because everything that makes Joe Rogan, is not allowed on the left. Kamala Harris dished Joe Rogan podcast interview over progressive backlash fears. So Joe Rogan was too problematic? But Liz Cheney was fine? Listen, you don't need a leftist Joe Rogan or liberal Joe Rogan. You just need leftists and liberals to go on Joe Rogan. And that means not giving a shit about being canceled by your own movement.
Look, you can have an argument with Rogan, agree with him, disagree with him, but what's the problem going on those shows? I got vilified by some of the Democratic establishment because I went on Rogan's show. Now a lot of other people are doing just that.
Anyways, liberals should start doing podcasts and TikToks and whatever aimed at setting the youth straight. Ah yes, there's nothing the youth enjoy more than being set straight.
We don't have the equivalent of Joe Rogan and Jordan Peterson to move that man in a feminist direction. By the way, we should educate men that it's actually really great to live with a strong woman who makes money. It's actually easier. Life is easier.
We're going to be under...
It's kind of fun. It's kind of nice to have your woman handle business. He's like, it's really nice. It's actually easier when someone else pays the bills and takes care of business and brings in the money, and you don't have, it's like, it's a lot of burden off your shoulders. It's kind of cool. It's kind of nice.
Money. It's actually easier. Life is easier.
We're going to be under Republican rule for the next 100 years, aren't we? Trump's win leaves Democrats asking, where are our bro whisperers? We have to make entertaining, engaging content that men want to watch and care about. Then, over time, you pepper in more progressive views. So you want to start a normal podcast and then start sprinkling in propaganda? Should you even be saying this out loud? Dems need to seriously put all their money into creating propaganda network to compete with the right's massive amount of propaganda. Democrats need their own propaganda machine, and I'm not even joking a little bit. First of all, again, I don't think we need better propaganda is something you should be saying out loud. Second of all, Democrats already have that, and have had it for decades. It's called Hollywood. It's called every celebrity, every institution, every piece of media, from movies to video games. Every celebrity from Beyonce to Taylor Swift endorsed her. She had Cardi B at all her rallies. She got the fucking Avengers together.
Hi, you guys. Hi, Avengers. That was one of the dumbest things I'd ever seen. And by the way, I haven't watched the Avengers movie just because of Avengers movies, because it's like they just got so complicated. I don't watch movies in general. I ain't got time for that. I honestly don't have time. And I don't want to have to like figure out which one's in what order and who knows who. I don't want to go through all that. I ain't got time for that. So I have not watched them, even though I'm a fan of Thor, as one could be. This.
She got the fucking Avengers together.
Hi, you guys. Hi, Avengers.
Hey, Scarlet. Wow, Trump is literally Thanos. By the way, with all these like journalists and people talking about how we need a liberal Andrew Tate, a liberal Joe Rogan, yeah, be prepared to see some of the most forced, overproduced, astroturfed streamers and YouTubers to pop up overnight and subtly or not so subtly start shilling for the Democratic Party. You're gonna start seeing funded DNC plants all over YouTube, Twitch, TikTok, because they really do think the answer to all of this is more podcasts. All the funding in the world won't buy you an audience. You could have $1 million set and the best sound and video equipment ever, but it will not buy you a large and dedicated audience. I've been using a Mac laptop webcam and a shitty snowball mic for over 10 years, and you idiots keep coming back for some reason. And listen, it's 2024. Y'all have a camera and a microphone. Be the liberal Joe Rogan you want to see in the world. But the thing is, if people can hear your opinions when they turn on the TV, they're not gonna watch your shit. People tune into alt media to hear alt opinions. Even the most popular leftist streamers, like Hassan for example, spend a lot of time criticizing the Democratic Party. So it's gonna be hard to build some kind of like Democrat shill Joe Rogan. But I can't wait to see you try. After the election, one of the only politicians I've seen who is actively trying to understand why people voted the way that they did is AOC. When I met her, I whispered into her ear, "Take the pronouns out of your bio." And she did. My influence. Anyway, after the election...
I can't stand AOC. There's just... I can't stand her. I cannot stand her. Even if she was coming up with the best campaign ideas and they were things that I truly believed in, she's one of the most obnoxious people I've ever seen on TV ever. Entitled, rude, nasty. I'm fighting for... Shut up. She just irritates me to no end. And I can't even put my finger on it. It's just, she irritates the shit out of me. And fundamentally, we're not on the same page, for sure. But that's not it. It's literally her demeanor, her attitude, her lies. It's just, I can't stand her. Or who's that Pelosi chick with the little pinchy nose? Ugh, I can't stand her either.
Pronouns out of your bio. And she did. My influence. Anyway, after the election, AOC found out that a ton of people voted for her down ballot, but also voted for Trump for president on the same ticket. Curious, she took to her Instagram to ask people why they did that. And these were some of their answers. I feel like Trump and you are both real. It's real simple. Trump and you care for the working class. But also you signified change. Trump signified change. I've said lately, Trump sounds more like you. Loved ones say you're both straightforward and challenging corruption and broken government. Because it's different than what has been the last 4 years. Something had to go. I feel that you both are outsiders compared to the rest of DC and less establishment. Voted Trump, but I like you and Bernie. I don't trust either party establishment politicians. The replies, of course, were full of people like, these idiots, these morons, these fools. Most depressing shit I've ever seen. These people sound dumb as hell. Such staggering ignorance and stupidity. The median voter. I hate the median voter. I want to destroy the median voter. Why?
Correct me if I'm wrong, but aren't we supposed to be like a country that everything that we love the most, when we're really excited about what's going on like in the House and the Senate and stuff, is when it's a it's both sides come together and do something. And when something happens, like something tragic, and they come together and they say, okay, we're going to take care of this. We're going to handle this. Think 9/11. That was the most amazing thing ever. The way the country came together. It was a terrible time. God, it was heartbreaking to watch that live. I saw that. I was obviously around. But my point is that we're supposed to work together. Would I ever consider a two-party ticket? You know, I actually would. I know, shocking, right? I know, shocking, because compromise is everything. There's some things I don't compromise on in my own personal beliefs, but would that be something I'd even consider? Yeah, I would. Because I think that if you have a candidate that's achieved things that is valuable, they could just be like, for example, if you had a really good campaign, but then you just ran your entire campaign based on the fact that, yay women, yay LGBT, yay abortion, and that's all you care about, and everyone else go fuck themselves. Do you see what I'm saying? But you might actually have some other good ideas that aren't centric on that, because that's what the Democratic Party runs their campaigns on. You might actually have some good ideas and achievements that you can bring to the table if you approach it in that manner. But see, they don't want that. It's either or. There's no in between. There's no compromise. There's no meeting in the middle. There's no such thing. And I get people who are like, if you don't talk about politics, we already know what you think about politics. I'm like, sure. Whatever the fuck you think I think. Cool. You think that I'm a super, super right conservative? Cool. Think what you want. You think that I'm anti? Cool. You're jumping to conclusions. That's I can't help that. That's your opinion. I really think that people working together is the best way to achieve things. Hearing other perspectives to, get some kind of compromise and some kind of together working, okay, whatever the fuck it's called. I would consider that, hands down. I never thought of that. I want to destroy the median voter. It's either us or no one. Oh, we have to win completely.
Why is the median voter this stupid? I hate the median voter. How could this be real? Americans really are the dumbest gentlemen on earth. This is giving me a headache. I don't understand the median voter. Listen, it's really not that hard to understand. It's populism, honey. It's why when I went to January 6th and told a bunch of boomers I was a Bernie supporter, a ton of them reacted like this.
I think he's one of the few honest people yeah, I think he's honest. He beat Hillary Clinton, and he would have beat Joe Biden, too.
No, that was not at a Democrat rally, a Democrat gathering. It would not have gone that way. You know it, I know it, and she knows it.
I think he's honest. He beat Hillary Clinton, and he would have beat Joe Biden, too.
People hate empty suits that sound like they're constantly reading from a script. They want someone who tells it like it is. Someone who fights for the everyman, or at least sounds like they do.
How are you feeling about Trump's upcoming presidency, Trump 2?
I voted for him.
Oh, you like AOC?
Yeah.
Did you vote for her?
Yeah. Remember one thing about why people voted for Trump. They want change.
The average American voter despises the establishment and will vote for anyone who promises to destroy it. And the fact that none of you understand this is a big reason why you lost and will continue to lose until you do understand it. Capiche? The beatings will continue until the populism improves. How could people have voted for this felon? How could they vote for Trump, especially after January 6th, where he led a bunch of his supporters to destroy that beautiful shining beacon of hope? Well, first of all, you have to understand that that's not a shining beacon of hope to most people. That is a dirty, disgusting brothel that sold out the future of their children and will probably send them into the next world war. After all the indictments, the mugshots, the committees, the documentaries, people clearly don't care about January 6th. And that might scare some people, but the truth is, a politician that promises safety and affordable food can do 100 January 6s. It's kind of like FDR said. Democracy has disappeared in several other great nations, not because the people of those nations dislike democracy, but because they had grown tired of unemployment and insecurity, of seeing their children hungry while they sat helpless in the face of government confusion and government weakness through lack of leadership. Finally, in desperation, they chose to sacrifice liberty in hope of getting something to eat. Speaking of FDR, let's talk a little bit about the guy that FDR stole a bunch of his ideas from, shall we? Someone who the modern Democratic Party should probably try and learn from. That's right, I finally found an excuse to talk about my favorite politician. The man, the myth, the legend, the kingfish himself, Huey Long. Huey Long was the 40th governor of Louisiana from 1928 to 1932. He was a populist member of the Democratic Party and rose to national prominence during the Great Depression. He took on big oil and Wall Street and drastically helped lift Louisiana out of poverty. Long had many supporters and haters, and to this day is celebrated as a populist champion of the people, and at the same time, denounced as a fascist demagogue. To give you a better idea of who Huey was, here are some quotes from the man himself. Corrupted by wealth and power, your government is like a restaurant with only one dish. They've got a set of Republican waiters on one side and a set of Democratic waiters on the other, But no matter which set of waiters brings you the dish, the legislative grub is all prepared in the same Wall Street kitchen. The only difference I ever found between the Democratic leadership and the Republican leadership is that one of them is skinning you from the ankle up and the other from the ear down. But Huey Long wasn't some enlightened centrist, no. The man firmly had a side, and that side was the people. I'm for the poor man, all poor men, black and white. They all gotta have a chance. They gotta have a home, a job, a decent education for their children. Every man a king. That's my slogan. When asked if he cared about the bad press he got, Huey replied, "All I care about is what the boys at the forks of the creek think of me." And when Big Oil threatened to leave Louisiana, he said, "If they gotta leave, they can go to hell and stay there."
Damn.
They don't make politicians like this anymore. Politicians used to be like mob bosses. Now they go on Call Her Daddy podcasts. Sad. Huey had many powerful enemies, and because of this, he was assassinated in 1935. His last words were allegedly, "God, don't let me die. I have so much to do." There's a lot of talk online right now about how we need a Joe Rogan for the left, an Andrew Tate for the left, but there's also talk about how we need a Donald Trump for the left, and well, Huey Long was exactly that. And to be completely honest, I don't think you people could handle a Donald Trump for the left. You couldn't even handle Bernie Sanders. You called him a sexist and a racist and did everything in your power to crush him and keep him down. But unlike Bernie, Huey Long wouldn't just lay down and take it. Huey Long would scare the shit out of the modern Democratic Party. But if there's anyone they need to take a lesson from, it's him. Alright, time to get out of this costume. I feel like...
Okay, so I understand, sort of. I don't know much about it. I just only know what I've seen here. I am not really big into, like, a socialist. Here's the problem. If I earn my money, I want to keep my money. Do I think everyone should have an opportunity to earn money? Yes. Do I think that I should lose my opportunity to earn money so that you can get an opportunity to earn money? Well, no. No. Do I think that if I earn money, I should give you my money? No. Do I think that if I buy something, it should be mine and I keep it? Yes. Like to me, it's as simple as I can make it. Sure, you can come up with one-offs and you can come up with different, exceptions to all the rules. You can do all of that and that's fine. That's your choice. You can do whatever you want. I just choose to live my life a little bit more simplistic. And I tell people, I used to know someone, and I'm not gonna say who it is because they're related to me. I used to tell them, I say, "Oh, I know, I understand that everybody should have healthcare, but as healthcare stands right now, are you going to pay for someone else to have healthcare? Like, why don't you just pay for their healthcare yourself?" And she's like, "What do you mean?" And I'm like, "Well, that's what you're doing. You're just putting it into this big pot and they're paying it out for other people to use. It's increasing our premiums because they have to subsidize. It's a whole thing." I work in healthcare, specifically that side. Anyway, just saying. So I have experience is what I'm trying to say. And she's like, "Oh." I'm like, "Well, how's this?" I said, "I'm going to go find someone who is out and about and that is uninsured, and then you can cover their bill." Why would I do that? Oh. I'm like, well, I mean, all you got to do is like not drink wine 3 times a day and take that money and use that to pay for their medical coverage. We're not even going to have you pay for everything out of pocket. I'm going to have you just pay for the premium. That's it. That's all. What? Now? Okay, well, then why are you telling everyone else in the entire world or in the entire country that they have to do that? But you're not willing to put your money where your mouth is. But you're demanding that everyone has to pay. Okay, so like what I was trying to express to her is that things are a little bit simpler and complicated at the same time. Sometimes, yes, does everybody deserve to have health care? Should everyone have healthcare? Yeah. Should it be something that is accessible and not ridiculously expensive? Yes. Does everyone deserve to have it handed to them for free? No. I pay a lot of money to cover myself and my kids on my insurance. Do I think it's fair that people get it for free when it's taking half my check? No, I don't think that's fair. But I don't have to pay so much. I know. You see what I'm saying? Like it's the way of looking at it. Now, like I said, I don't think that I should have to earn less so that you can earn more. That's kind of where you lose me in this entire argument. Do I think that people should have the opportunities? Of course I do. Do I think that my opportunity should be taken away so you can have one? No. So see, that's where the disconnect is there, in my opinion. Of course, I don't understand all of the nuances of all of these different parties and everything that they believe in and all of that stuff. So I'm not even pretend like an expert. This is just off of my personal opinion.
An old hooer. It should come as no great surprise that the Democratic Party, which has abandoned working class people, would find that the working class had abandoned them, Bernie Sanders said in a statement about the results of Tuesday's election. While the Democratic leadership defends the status quo, the American people are angry and want change.
And you have to understand that one of the campaign promises that keeps coming up over and over and over again, and this is coming from multiple different candidates, and by the way, not Donald Trump, which is why he got a lot of the kudos from the working class, is that they're being told that their money needs to go to take care of everyone else. They're literally being told, we want you to take your money and we want you to hand it to other people. It is a simplistic way of saying it. You know exactly what I'm saying. We want to make sure that your taxes go for all these free programs for everyone, but you don't qualify. You don't qualify. You have a job, or you're white, or you are a heterosexual, or you don't check a box. You're not, here illegally. We want to hand people that are here illegally all of these free things. We want to hand them gift cards. We want to hand them like a debit card. We want to hand them free housing. We want to hand them free healthcare. But you have to work 60 hours a week to kind of pay your bills. Like, you don't quite make it, but you make it paycheck to paycheck kind of by this like skin of your teeth or whatever they call it. That's where they lost a lot of people, in my opinion.
And they're right. Will the big money interest and well-paid consultants who control the Democratic Party learn any real lessons from this disastrous campaign? Will they understand the pain and political alienation that tens of millions of Americans are experiencing? Do they have any ideas as to how we can take on the increasingly powerful oligarchy, which has so much economic power? Probably not. All the groups that Sanders originally courted, young people, Latinos, the working class, are gone. And I don't know if they're coming back. Maybe this is a one-time thing, maybe it's just because of Trump or inflation, or maybe the meme is coming true. Maybe Republicans are the new party of the working class. Democrats' working class exodus sets off reckoning within party. Democrats, who have long prided themselves as the party for the little guy, instead strengthened their emerging base of financially secure college graduates this election, while a growing number of blue-collar voters embraced Trump and Republicans. Especially alarming for Democrats this election, the exodus of working class voters from the Democratic Party included not just white voters, but helped Trump make gains with Latino and black men. This realignment crystallized a political reality that is tough for Democrats to swallow. With blue-collar voters flocking away from their party over multiple election cycles, Democrats' refashioned base is becoming more upper-class, urban, suburban, and coastal. It's a narrowed coalition that does not bode well for future elections. To put things into perspective, the Trump coalition is closer to the Obama coalition than the Harris one is. That is crazy. That is wild. That is what we call a potential party switch. And I don't really care about how many leftists or Democrats cope about this. We have better union policies, we have better wages policy. Yeah, that might be true, and I agree, but we don't get to decide who the party of the working class is. The working class does. And if exit polls are anything to go by, basic left-wing economic policy is still incredibly popular. People just hate the Democratic Party. White men without college degrees are going to ruin this country. First of all, white men without college degrees built this country, bitch. Second of all, this is apparent.
How offensive. How offensive to say something like that. You can take your poli-sci and your liberal arts degree. I have a degree. Cool. You're the idiots at the top, making the marketing idiots that are telling people that are doing the actual job how to do their job properly and screwing it all up, and then businesses go out of business. Anyway, point is, look, equal opportunity hater, an entire party that bases everything that they do, and all of their most adamant supporters are hateful, nasty, mean people, spiteful, screaming, insulting. That is the face of your entire party. Now, do I think that some policies could be okay? And do I think that everything the Republicans say is great? No. Do I think everything the Democrats say is terrible? No. Do I really identify myself as hands down far on either side? Absolutely not. I think that there are things that could be taken from both. However, my political leanings tend to go conservative. pretty much across the board. Now, there are policies that I would think, wow, that it's actually a really good idea that is being pushed by the Democratic Party, because maybe the Republican Party's like, well, we don't want to do that. Right? Because they have to kowtow to the establishment, right? We're not getting into all that. This is a long ass video. I apologize. I'm sorry. I'm mad that it's this long, okay? This is why I don't do politics usually, because
Apparently a real Democratic Party strategist saying this. You want to know how to win 2028? Step 1. Stop listening to freaks like this. The election, if having a degree was a requirement to vote. And this is what the election would look like if everyone was allowed to vote. Oh wait, that's this election. I too hate democracy.
And I think Bernie Sanders is wrong. I think the more relevant question actually is, what is wrong with America?
Democrats have a smug problem. The day after the election, an NBC News chart circulated on Instagram that highlighting exit poll data showing that the more education you had, the more likely you would vote for Vice President Kamala Harris over President-elect Donald Trump. Some liberals used the occasion to look down upon the icky dummies who were too stupid to know they shouldn't vote for Trump. Yet Trump's victory was both definitive and diverse. He won broad swaths of the electorate, making significant gains in New York and California, and winning over larger percentages of Latino voters and young voters than in 2020. He also won a majority of first-time voters.
You don't think it has anything to do with the indoctrination in colleges and the professors shoving propaganda down people's throats and basing grades on things like that? And the sweeping, like, frankly, liberal requirement you have to, like, you can't exist on a campus if you don't, like, if you're not completely inclusive and using pronouns with everyone you meet, and like putting safe spaces and things. Like, they've put this culture into colleges that kind of people, oh, isn't this wonderful, we're so progressive, oh my god, we're so progressive, and then they come out and then they're like, yo, let's vote for Harris. And everyone that's been working their ass off and isn't in these super, like, safe spaces, we'll just call them that, they don't, because they're using more than what their professors and, you know, influences told them. They're not a sheep, they're not a lemming that's just doing what they're told. That's how it seems to me. It's how it seems. I'm not saying that's what it is. That's my opinion.
Large factions of the left condescendingly believe that dumb people are the reason Trump won in 2016 and won again in 2024. And that patronizing, visceral vibe is obvious. It's a massive turnoff to many other voters. It is a mountain smug Democrats have to overcome if they want to reconnect with voters. Once, the coastal liberal establishment had an air of open-mindedness. But now, these elites have evolved into the provincial, narrow-minded scolds they once critiqued. All their education has narrowed their worldview. Their credentialism has built themselves a bubble in which to hide from reality. The contempt many liberals and some leftists have for the working class has never been more on display than it is right now. Even coming from some leftist YouTubers I watch that I know better and spend a lot of their time trying to bring people to the left. Your college degree does not make you any smarter than a working class person without a college degree. And more importantly, don't talk down to a vast majority of the population, because despite how badly you want to believe it, they are not stupid. They are the people who grow your food, build your houses, pave your roads, fix the plumbing in your luxury apartments. And guess what? There are more of them than there are of you. So maybe you people should start listening to them instead of wagging your finger in their faces as if disagreeing with you is some moral failing, because it's not. These people aren't all racists and Nazis or whatever. They are normal people. They are the proletariat. They're who you should be fighting for. And they don't believe you are fighting for them. More importantly, there is a difference between being educated and being smart. IQ isn't just about how many books you've read or how many words you know. A lot of it is about pattern recognition, and boy did I recognize some patterns here. Maybe you guys should have listened to the bimbo with populist brain rot, because she seemed to be right about a lot of this. If the Democratic Party wants to win another election, they need to start understanding the importance of populism. Drop the divisive identity politics and focus on the bread and butter issues, or you are doomed. Become the party of Huey Long again, or you are doomed. But you know what? Maybe you're not doomed. Because if Trump fails to deliver on his promises, or we get like George Bush 3, it's totally possible that the populism vacuum will be open again. Will the Democrats take advantage of this and actually put up a good candidate? No. They're gonna put up like Pete Buttigieg or Gavin Newsom, and the populism vacuum will be filled by people like my Twitter mutual and soon to be Vice President of the United States, JD Vance. That is still so weird. What do I do with this power? Hey, JD, best buddy, I have an idea. It's called Patriot Care, and it's healthcare, but our tax dollars go to it instead of bombs. Doesn't that sound cool? If you can't beat 'em, join 'em. The fact is, this election was a complete rejection of the liberal ideology. Or it was just because of inflation and people want to afford eggs again.
Yeah, that was crazy, right?
It just kind of sucks to see the party you voted for your whole life, the party you grew up with, just get worse and worse over time. After this, the Democrats are gonna move right in the dumbest ways. They're gonna become like the new neocons, but gay. And I have no idea how a second Trump term is gonna go. I hope it goes well. I don't know. Congrats to RFK, I guess. I'll see you guys in the Adderall labor camps. Otherwise known as the concentration camps. Get it? Okay.
Adderall, concentration,
anyway, so that is enough of my
got
yapping,
it. Yes,
and now I want to hear you yap. Why do you think Trump won? And what could the Democrats do to win 2028? Anyway, if you liked this video, please consider subscribing. Also, if you can, donate to me on Patreon, or you could do a little tip with the little tip jar down below somewhere. It helps the channel a lot, and I appreciate it so much. And I will see you very soon with a new video that is very, very different than this one. Some of you might like it. I know a certain community will. But that is it for now, so bye!
Oh no! What the hell? That's not what I meant to do. Okay, sorry. I meant to just go back to that. My bad. That was a really long one, and if you stuck it out to here, you're amazing. Why? You probably just let it play in the background. That's cool. It's cool. I knew I was gonna rant on this one, so hopefully you read the disclaimer at the very beginning, and you clicked off the second that you got sick and tired of hearing me. You can always come back and watch it later if you want. Either way, I feel some type of way. I do. And you know what? I'm always open to consider other things. That's the thing, is I know people are like, no, you have to only like Republican, or you have to hate Democrats, or vice versa, right? I don't believe in that, and that's the reason that the Democrat Party pisses me off. Is the reason that, like, people who disagree and you instantly alienate them and they're pieces of shit and you call them names. To me, that's just, it's childish and middle school, and it's dumb. And I'm grown, so I have the capability of using logical thought and common sense and coming to conclusions based on my experiences and different perspectives. I'm okay with hearing other takes on things without absorbing them and immediately becoming a lemming and doing exactly what people tell me. I don't watch social media for my information and intel, because that's stupid. And I don't hate people especially because of things they had no control over, like the color of their skin. Like I said, people need to boink, and then you become, it's not, and also it's not an accomplishment. So you can be like, yes, well, I am Italian ancestry. Okay. Like, yay. And no one cares. Just saying. Anyway, that being said, super awkward, unprofessional, and I'm getting a little dizzy because I'm hungry, and I have one more video to do. I'm doing these in a row. So I did the America's in Shambles, and then I did this one. Good Lord, this one took forever. And then I'm going to go back and splice myself back into the Blame the Voters so that I can watch her respond to crazy comments, which is actually my favorite thing that she does, that I enjoy the absolute most, which is finding the cesspools online and compiling them into a fun video for me to sit here and laugh alongside and be shocked and awed with how absolutely ridiculous people in this world are, and the kind of stupid shit people say online. Anyway, take care of yourselves and each other. Remember that you're valid and you matter, and don't let anyone tell you different. On that note, I'm out. Let's go. God, I'm tired, and it's hot, and I'm hungry, and I'm dizzy because I need like protein or something. So I'm gonna go eat a banana and some blueberries, and I I will be right back to do that third video.